Good afternoon, Whalecoin Talk community. My name is Noah, and I'm joined today by Protocol X. Gentlemen, before we get started talking about the project, can you give us a quick background of who you are and how you found yourselves working in the crypto industry today?
Yeah, so I'll start off here. My name is, so I'm on the Protocol X main Telegram. We are primarily a Discord group, so this is just an announcement only TG. But my name is Neil. I am the founder and CEO of Protocol X. I started investing in crypto right around 2018. Got my first community manager position in a DeFi project this past January. Developed some different investment opportunities from there in different aspects of this space. And then I went crypto full time in May. So I'm the founder and CEO of Protocol X, but I do have a great team behind me, and two of them are here with me. So Brandon and CK, you guys are on stage.
Hi guys, my name. Go ahead, Brand.
Hello everyone, my name is Brand, also known as Brandon in the real world. I am on the Protocol X team. I am the community manager, and I'm joined here by Cruelty. But first, let me tell you why and when I got into the crypto space. So back in 2019, I dabbled a little bit in options and futures, and then I found my way into DeFi. And ever since I've been in DeFi, I've had moderator jobs, community management jobs, and I've been doing it about a year and a half now. So when I met Shib, we got it on, and here we are today.
Hi guys, my name is Jack. I also go by CK or Crypto Cruelty. I joined DeFi early last year and discovered my love for it. And since then, I've been involved in several different projects in one capacity or another as a moderator, senior moderator, admin. So basically, I focus on the administration aspect of the Discords and keeping things safe and making sure that everybody does not get scammed or get harassed through suspicious links and stuff like that. So I build bots and I make sure that everything is secure.
Amazing. And let's jump in, talk about high level, the Protocol X ecosystem. You guys are bringing in a lot of different components of DeFi all in one. I'd love to hear you break it down for us, and then we can jump into the nuts and bolts of things individually.
Yeah, so hey, thank you for kind of this introduction here and allowing us to speak on this project. So Protocol X is obviously, at the most basic level, it's a Rebase token on the Binance Smart Chain. We've seen plenty of Rebase tokens before, but we have brought in some different elements, not just to those tokenomics themselves, but to the entire ecosystem that we're bringing into this game here. So we're going to have this Rebase token. It is obviously going to be inflationary in nature in the sense that it does rebase and mint new tokens every day. Whenever you hold them, it's auto-rebasing in your wallet. It's going to start out as a 1.77% daily APR, but we've introduced this sustainability emissions mechanism, the SEM model that we're calling, and this will decrease that APR by 10% each month over 12 months. So the first month is 1.77% APR. On that 12th month, it'll be at 0.5% APR, and that's where it'll stay from there. I'm doing that to increase the sustainability variables of the tokenomics themselves, while also adding in a variety of outside revenue streams that'll be facilitated to conduct buybacks and burns. That 12-month mark is my strategic point of the ability to buy back and burn a net surplus compared to mints, which will then allow us to become either net, no longer inflationary or deflationary, or allow us to let that become a little bit more inflationary or deflationary. It gives us that control there. Beyond just that Rebase token, we have a fully functional DEX that'll be coming live, where it's, you can do everything on there. You can stake, you can have different pools, we can onboard projects, all those sort of things there. That'll be on our website as well. It'll be an entire Web3 website, the DEX will be hosted there. We also have an NFT revenue share system that'll be coming out a few weeks after we go live. We do start our pre-sale tomorrow, go live on the 15th of August. And then about 3 to 4 weeks after that, we will introduce this NFT revenue share system. And basically, you mint these NFTs, there'll be 20,000 total out there. And with those NFTs, there's a portion of the buy and sales tax that goes into a wallet, and that'll be distributed to those who own the NFTs on at least a bi-weekly basis. I haven't quite figured if I'm going to make it weekly or bi-weekly just yet, but I think it's probably going to be bi-weekly. That'll be distributed in BUSD, and that is a means of actual passive income. So we're trying to make both of these protocols feed into each other as a legitimate passive income stream, just on the Rebase side and on the NFT side, allow the DEX to facilitate the growth between all of that, establish strategic partnerships, and then allow us to ultimately grow into a much bigger business model that has yet to be announced, that we'll be announcing ideally live at some of those larger cryptocurrency conventions in the nearest futures.
Awesome. So many questions on my end. Let's start with the rebasing mechanism. Does it require us to stake?
Nope. So it'll be an auto rebasing protocol. If you let's say you get a 5,000 worth tomorrow in the pre-sale, once we go live on the 15th, they just start rebasing on their own. It'll rebase at a 30-minute increment. There's no staking involved on the website for that aspect of it. They're just in your wallet accumulating every 30 minutes.
And once it reaches a fixed APY of 0.5%, have you decided whether you want the tokenomic structure to be slightly inflationary, or rather neutral, slightly inflationary, or slightly deflationary?
So I'll kind of go in, excuse me, I'll kind of go into this one, and some of these I'll pass off to Brand as well. But this is one I kind of want to talk about a little bit. So at that 12-month mark, let's say the strategic plans that we have work to a T, and now we can control that circulating supply however we want. So we also have a custom liquidity management service or system out there. So many people are aware of the LMS and how it kind of works. Basically, we'll keep generally within a range for the token price, and it's done by trading within the LP. I want to structure ours, which is a custom created one for us, as a rising floor model. So it'll start selling, and then that money will be going to create a backing floor that I can slowly increase over time. That's very important, because at that year mark, I could let it be slightly inflationary to allow it to feed into that rising floor model and provide some additional cushion on that end. I can allow it to be net neutral so that there's no more deflationary or inflationary effects. Or if there needs to be, I can create a deflationary aspect to it, which will then boost up the token price. That could be done, not just strategically, but just in general, to keep some good incentive for those who are holding it throughout time. So there's a variety of different things you can do. You can't just go out there and wing it. So there's going to be a lot of thought process behind it. But I really want to drive that rising floor model home and allow that to establish itself over time, while not letting us get too inflationary, of course, on the back end there.
And that's for the PTX token. Can you give us an overview of the XSwap token and the distinguishing features that it provides with respect to the ecosystem?
Yeah, so I'll touch base on that a little bit for you. So the XSwap token itself will be a generic sort of cake token, a cake style token. So the token itself will have a 50 billion max supply. However, that won't be released initially. The way it will work is every year, 5 billion tokens are released. So that is a fixed emissions for 10 years. So what we are aiming to do is use XSwap token to be the farming token of XSwap. Now, once we have that in play, what we can then do is introduce a wrapped version of PTX, which then allow us to use an index method to turn the rebases into a rising floor sort of aspect. So the way it will work is once you wrap the token itself won't rebase. However, what will happen, it will rebase within the wrap. So a good thing about that is when you deposit X amount of tokens, you won't see it actively rebasing, however it will. And what that allows us to do is use that to say open farms, open liquidity aspects, use that to earn XSwap and so much more. And obviously we can then use that to pair with our partners with the plethora that we've established over the short period of time to then have more aspects within the DEX. Now, that is only one aspect of the protocol. Obviously, the NFT share revenue model is a massive, massive thing. At the core, it's a revenue share model. So it's a basic NFT that receives benefits from the protocol. So in the PTX smart contract, there's an automatic 2% transaction fee from every buy and sell that will go straight into sort of a XShares wallet. Now that will happen from day one. Shib mentioned that it won't be releasing for 3 to 4 weeks. The reason for that is so we can actually evaluate and use proper scientific data to see how much that is worth Instead of saying, hey, we're listing these for X amount of money, buy them, you'll earn a percent. But what we want to do is say, hey, this is the ROI you can make on them, and this is the potential it's got for them. Now, that system is a door-based system. The reason why we chose a door-based system, so to break that down, the NFT itself is a door. Now, it's got all different aspects, different backgrounds, and different levels. There'll be 3 tiers to the door system. You have obviously the base, the mid, and then the quote-unquote legendary model. Now, the way you upgrade, though, so we'll be releasing 20,000 NFTs at a later stage, and these will obviously have a set price based on the returns of the protocol. So the percentage of profit the token is making, and they will be priced against that. So it's a fair ROI model. Now, how do you get them tiers? Now, one thing we've looking to introduce and will be introducing into PTX is a methodology where you can use PTX to purchase a thing called X keys. Now, X keys is another part of our ecosystem. At the core, it's basically a token slash NFT slash a product that you'll purchase using your PTX to then upgrade or try and upgrade your X shares. Now, each model of X shares will obviously have different value. They'll have different benefits, and that will be released at a later date once we've confirmed everything and obviously their value is established. But at a core, what that does is that adds another burn mechanism to PTX and also allows us to increase the revenue on the revenue share models by, providing these keys, which we could then use to upgrade to different tiers on the X shares.
So for the NFTs, you say you're going to wait 3 to 4 weeks after launch for them to be released or for them to be sold?
Yes. So they won't be sold straight away. The reason for that is because we want scientific data. So we want to see what they're actual, mathematic data. We want to see what they're actually worth. You know how you could just list an NFT for whatever value you want, right? But what we actually want to do is say, hey, here's what this, just based on this one single income alone for the protocol. So we can use multiple for that. We can use a percentage of the ego. We can use a percentage of the liquidity trading bots we have from our partnership with MDB Plus. We can use the protocol taxes, which is built in from day one. Now, once we combine all of our external revenue models, which are still rolling in, which are still building, may I add, you're then able to actually establish a value for them. What we don't want to do is say, here's an NFT for $500 or here's an NFT for $100, and people going, well, I bought this NFT 4 months ago and I still haven't made ROI on it. So it kind of defeats the object. What we want to do is have that scientific backing, mathematical backing, should I say, to have an established floor price for these NFTs for people to go, hey, this actually has value. I can upgrade it using the PTX token, which I don't have to sell to upgrade it. I can just use maybe a portion of my rebases. So that's another aspect that stops whale bags growing in extreme value and allows whales or even regular members to go, hey, I'm going to upgrade my stake in the protocol. And it allows us to establish long-term holders as well, people that actually care about the project, people that want to see the project succeed.
So has the white paper since been updated? Because what I was reading, and correct me if I'm wrong here, was that in order to upgrade a dungeon door NFT, for example, you need to use keys. And one of my questions was, how many keys are required per tier upgrade?
So the keys themselves, they'll be able to be purchased with a PTX token. So there's going to be a full, obviously, documentation coming out for that. Once that is established on, obviously, probability and how much, because it wouldn't be just buying one key will unlock the door. What we want to do is we want to make it interactive. We want to make it sort of a risk. Otherwise, what happens there is everyone will just upgrade it. Everyone will have the top tier. But what we want to do is provide value to where we can introduce, we're already introducing, say, a lottery style system. So what we want is people to go, hey, I want to upgrade my share. I've got 5 NFTs. I've got 5 of these NFTs. Let me try upgrade some of them. I've built up an X amount of PTX. So instead of people wanting to dump their PTX and obviously cause more sustainability issues, they're able to use that PTX to reinvest into the protocol. As for the number of keys, that isn't defined yet, because what we need to do is work out, okay, how many holders do we have? How many people are actually interested in garnering these NFTs? And obviously it will be mathematical, it will be probability fair. You can't just say, hey, here's one key, I'm going to unlock it, I'm going to get the maximum benefits. Otherwise, everyone will do that. It would it would completely defeat the object of having the keys, having the burn factor. It would completely make it obsolete. People would just buy the maximum tier. Whereas what we want to do is go, hey, you can have the maximum tier. Here is the benefits, but you have to earn it. And obviously, full documentation regarding that will come out soon.
Understood. And why did you guys choose to use a 2-token system with respect to PTX and XSwap? Why not just use 1 token?
Yeah, so there are 2 very different functioning tokens there. Obviously, we're going to have our own DEX. So the XSwap token in and of itself is the token of that DEX. So how do I want to? So there's that Rebase token, right? That's that PTX. That is the, what most people are going to be interested in. But you can't really do things like, coordinated and strategic staking and farming pools with that very efficiently. With this XSwap token, it has fixed emissions, 5 billion per year over 10 years, 50 billion total. So there is a fixed emission rate to it. That allows us to utilize our DEX appropriately, where we can set, for example, a week-long staking or 365-day staking, because we have this 5 billion per year release. So we can get very creative with it and also pair that with other tokens as well. So Brent kind of mentioned sort of like Cake in a sense, where in and of itself, it's a farm token, and that's going to be what it's primarily used for. Just a token that represents the DEX there. That'll get listed independently, of course. And it also allows me to market that DEX a little bit separately than this token itself, the PTX token. And I'm taking a variety of different partnerships and marketing approaches for just the DEX itself, because I am designing it a little bit differently instead of just a primary revenue stream. So there'll be some different aspects to that as well. But these 2 tokens work independently and in congruency with each other to help support the entirety of the ecosystem.
And what are some distinguishing features of your DEX, and how do you guys plan on initially bootstrapping liquidity?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt Brand. Okay, cool. So this is a little bit different than most people kind of operate when they build a DEX, right? So most of the time they'll be introduced and they launch on their DEX and they say, we are going to be the biggest DEX, we're going to overcome PancakeSwap, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is not very realistic if we haven't figured that out just yet, right? So you need to be a little bit strategic with it. The way I'm seeing this DEX is that I put money in to build it up front, right? This is my investment into the establishment of the protocol. I'm not looking to make a ton of money with this DEX directly. So by that, I mean, I'm going to do very strategic partnerships, one of which will be announced here probably in the next 12 to 24 hours. And it is a sense of security partnership for a protocol to be onboarded onto the DEX. They'll have to get a certain, security KYC. They'll have to get very specific vetting, and they'll have to partner with us in a specific way as well. So we will vet each protocol very intensively. We'll make sure that their tokenomics are okay, that the people are okay, that there is some level of accountability if they were to do malicious acts. Of course, you cannot prevent, projects from failing. That could happen to anybody, right? That can happen to Bitcoin for all we know. Probably not, but it could. So we're taking various steps to create a secure aspect and almost like a closed niche networking DEX as we start onboarding additional projects. They don't have to be Rebase, but they will be Binance appropriate, at least in the early stages, until we can expand the blockchain capabilities. And then we really start vetting and marketing this as a different kind of DEX, not for everyone to use, but for projects who are willing to go through a variety of security mechanisms and vetting in order to be then listed on there. And then once they're listed on there, we're partners with them directly and officially, and we will then network with each other so that they would be able to network with our partners, some of which have been announced and others will be announced very soon, and some are very, very large, way bigger than what we are.
Yeah, no, obviously, and just to touch base a little bit on that. So with regards to the DEX, I just want to touch base a little bit on what Neil said. A lot of times you see these projects and they go, hey, we want to be the next PancakeSwap. But what we're doing is we're not using our DEX initially to put all the liquidity in. That's insane, because how is the project going to grow? Now, the reason why I say that is because, hey, we can hype this DEX up on launch. We can blow it out of the water, say, hey, this is the next big thing. But let's be realistic. When that first initial hype dies, as it always does, the only people that are going to know about the DEX are the people that are involved in the token. Now, what we're looking to do, and as Neil said, we're one of the partnerships, slowly and gradually build up the sustainability and reliability of the DEX So when I say that, I mean, garner these partnerships and say, hey, we want to work with you. We want to fix this problem within the space. We want to have this on our decks. We want to make sure this will run smoothly. And then in an X amount of time, we can then transfer all of that liquidity to our actual decks and go, hey, now's the time. We've got X token on there. We've got X token. We've got so many people that want to build on our platform, that we can then have that sustainability factor where multiple projects will be using the DEX, as opposed to just you hoping that your project has enough volume for it to be sustainable. Now, that's one of the big things that we focus on at Protocol X, is sustainability. And obviously you've got to be smart, and you've got to be risk adverse. And obviously investing all of your liquidity into your own project at the start isn't very risk adverse. I've never advised anyone to 100% invest in something. Now, that's why we use the external revenue sources, such as partnering with MDB, such as Ego. So we not only have them backup plans, but we also have their partnerships to work from and build from together. So creating them floors and creating, actual sustainability is a main part within the token.
And you all mentioned XSwap is similar to Cake. I'm curious to know what farming and liquidity pool incentives you guys are going to be providing in the DEX. Is it going to be single staking exclusively, or will there be lucrative LP pairs that we can earn yields on? Also, what kind of APYs can we expect in maybe the first few months of the DEX being released?
Well, of course, we want the DEX to be, we want people to want to use the DEX. So we will have single staking, we will have, yield farming, we will have all of that. We will have everything on the DEX. It's similar to PancakeSwap. Hey, we'll even have a lottery system. But with regards to that juicy APR, the juicy APY, what we want to do with XSwap is actually make it sustainable. Now, we've seen some tokens launch their DEX, and off the initial bat, they've got this insane amount of APY, and then the token just instantly knife falls. That's not what we want. What we want to do is use our partnerships and use the people that we're working with to actually build a sustainable DEX. And that goes back to one of our partners that we will be announcing, that we don't just want any project on our DEX. We want to build that unity within DeFi and have the projects that want to work together, grow together, to support each other, to work on that DEX. Now, as for specific APY figures, I can't give you them right now. I'll be completely honest with you. We're still working on that. We still want to make sure everything is perfect before we put anything set in stone. But of course, the APR and the APY and all the incentives on the DEX will be attractive. But we don't want to make things too attractive where they're unsustainable. And we don't want our XSwap token, our native token, to just end up knife falling and becoming worthless, because then the project doesn't look indulgent. People won't want to buy it. No one's going to buy a falling asset that has just that whole trading history is just going down because everyone's receiving so many emissions. What we want to do is make that sustainable, make the project actually survive, and actually be able to build into it, so where the token can grow as well as the DEX.
Can you tell us more about your partnership with Ego Team and how their trading bot fits into the Protocol X ecosystem?
Yes, I'll go into this one. So I love the team over at Ego. Huge shout out to all of them. Narek is the founder. I've been friendly with Narek, and I've kind of worked with him on and off, just in general, literally just human networking over the last several months. So Ego has built up a great protocol in general. And then one of their members of their team, Marquise, developed this trading bot. This is a custom developed trading bot. This is not that KuCoin or those, random trading bots that make you 2 or 3% a month if you're lucky. This is one that he has refined and has continued to update for his personal use initially, and has now expanded to commercial use. In the 6 months of their testing process, the lowest that it's done was 20% return, and the highest was a 300% return. That highest was on a very higher risk category. So I would definitely wouldn't recommend, a commercial business going into that highest risk one. But nevertheless, it has done that, and it hasn't done below 20% the last 30 days. 30-day report, they net 32%. And so that's what I have personal money in there. I believe in that personally. And that's going to be a huge part of how we're developing the outside revenue system for Protocol X. So immediately from pre-sale funds, I'm going to insert an X percentage amount of our funds right into that bot, start letting it work. From there, we're going to utilize that to conduct buybacks and burns. I'm also going to have different categories. So some will be used to, help the treasury. Some will be used to help different builds. Some will be used for business expenses, and some will be used for buybacks and burns. So it'll be very coordinated, very transparent. I'll be releasing reports every single week to say, hey, this is where we are, and this is where we were last week, obviously, with new mints, with revenue in, and all that good stuff there. So it'll be incredibly transparent. I kind of consider that EagleBot as like a, low to mid risk and mid to high reward. Obviously, everything has a risk in DeFi. Anything could go wrong, right? So you can definitely lose money there. It's just designed not to lose everything, obviously, or else we wouldn't invest in it, and I wouldn't put my personal money into it either. So that was like a big promo for Ego. I love them. They're a great bot.
Right on. And over what period of time have you been using this bot for your own personal funds?
So I've been in there a couple months, maybe 2 or 3 months now, and I don't know if I want to drop how much personally I just put in there the other week.
You don't need to do that. I was more curious about the amount of time you spent using the bot, and you're saying that you've averaged around 20 to 30% return each month?
Correct. Yep. It's averaged
Awesome.
The last 3 months of between 20 and 40%. This past month was 32%.
And is this a bot that's currently available to the public, or is it only available to partners?
So they'll be bringing it commercial and available, I believe, to the public on the 15th is when they're going to have their mechanism set up for it. That's part of what I'll be doing, is kind of marketing that to them, because some of the percentage of the profits go back to the Ego system, which I genuinely believe in as well. They're another major passive income platform, and they've actually had a pretty good rise here the last couple of days. So I'm going to very much shill them and support them in their growth, because it benefits Ego and then it benefits the space.
The PTX token has a 13% buy and 18% sell tax. Curious to know if you plan on lowering those at any point.
So as of right now, that's going to be how the buy and sell tax are built in. Now, I don't want to promise that I'm going to lower it at some point, especially not a defined point, because that's hard for me to promise, right? What if something changes or something unforeseen happens? But I will say that I'm not going to raise it ever. That'll be the max that it'll ever be. As these outside revenue sources kind of build up and grow, that can give me some flexibility. Just for example, let's say I have a whole category of this trading bot and it's killing it, it's doing super well, and I have that funding things like the NFT revenue share system, or things like the liquidity, stuff like that. I can start removing different aspects from the buy and sales tax if it makes sense and if the community wants it there. But I need to make sure that it's done strategically. I can't just, have like a Thanksgiving Day parade and just drop it just for fun and then kind of put myself in a bind a little bit later on. I would love to, but as of right now, I'm not going to commit to a date that it'll get lowered. I will commit that I'm not going to rise it, though.
Sure. And for buys and sells, it's 5% and 8% to your treasury respectively. I'm curious to know how you guys plan on utilizing your treasury, what kind of yield farming strategies you plan on implementing, and how you're choosing to diversify it.
Yeah, so I'll go through that a little bit. One major thing we're looking to do with our treasury is one thing that I've never actually really seen. So a lot of time in projects, you get to a couple of months in and the devs hit you that awful news, hey, we need to dump X amount of tokens. The price drops 30, 40%. The investors are upset. What we're looking to integrate, and we've been speaking to our development team about, is the introduction of, say, an auto-managing treasury. And what that will be is basically a bot, in a sense, that will automatically how can I put this? Automatically deploy once there was a certain buy amount. So this bot wouldn't work on sells; it would only be on buyers, because we don't want to add to negative sell pressure. So when, say, for example, throwing it out there, the figures aren't defined as of yet, but if there was a $10,000 buy, what this bot will do is automatically sell 1 to 2% of the treasury. Now, the reason why we've decided to sort of look into implementing that is because what we don't want to do is run into a point where the protocol isn't sustaining itself. So using the external revenue sources and using things such as that, we're hopefully in the future, and obviously you can never guarantee because you don't know what the future holds, looking to never ever have to do a massive treasury sell-off, because sometimes when push comes to shove, tokens have to survive. So what we're looking at doing is implementing things from early on that we can be honest and open about with our investors and say, hey, we have this, it's fully transparent. You'll be able to see how much the treasury has accumulated. We'll be giving you, updates on where the funds are being moved to if they ever have to get moved. But the reason why we're doing this is to protect you when you've decided to hodl for 4 months and then in 4 months' time tank the price by 40%. That's not something we want to do. So if we can implement that from early on, it is still something we're working on, but it's something that we want to get implemented as soon as possible to make that sustainable. As for the treasury, obviously, Shib touched base on this before. What we're looking to do is invest in risk-averse projects we partner with, projects we support, projects we believe are up to the standard where we align with their visions enough for us to go, hey, we should invest a small part of our treasury into this token. Now, the reason why I say this is because what good is the money doing sitting there? What we need to do is make the project work for itself. We need to use these partnerships and use the resources we have to make sure that we're growing. And of course, there's always a chance you can lose money. And that's exactly why we'd only invest carefully, using risk management. And obviously, we'd never put the protocol in a position where we've invested too much money or over-invested that the project isn't able to sustain itself anymore. So it'll obviously be a very small percentage on each project from the treasury, but that will obviously be as the treasury grows. And we'll be able to use that and fund that co-aligning with the bot, with the treasury management system, to be able to say, hey, this week we've been able to get an extra $10,000. Let's put that into the ego bot that's been providing a 32% on average return each month and increase our stake in that. And then a month later, if that continues, that's an extra $3,200 that we never had before. So that can go towards the marketing, that can go towards using external sources for team salary, development, marketing, buying and burning. So it's an endless possibility when you're actually making the treasury work for you.
Right on. And definitely some new strategies there that I've never heard of before. You guys have your fair launch your fair pre-sale, coming up. I'm curious to know what the minimum and maximum contribution per wallet is going to be and what the hard cap is as well.
Yeah, so great question. Our pre-sale is tomorrow, August 10th at 1700 UTC. So like 20 hours and 28 minutes from now, if my brain is working correctly. So you'll be able to engage with that on our website. It'll be our own pre-sale contract, and you can engage with that right from there. So the token price for the pre-sale is 0.06 per token, 6 cents per token, but it will be conducted in BNB. So you have to have BNB, but it's 6 cents per token, no buy tax. And then when we go live on the 15th, it'll be 7 cents per token is what we'll go live at. So you get a discount for no buy tax, discount for getting in early, getting that 1 cent cheaper. So the minimum will be whatever is, I think it's 0.001 BNB that we put as a minimum per wallet. So very, very little. Pretty much as long as you can engage and conduct a transaction, you can get in. There's no real hard minimum except for that 0.001 BNB. Max per wallet is going to be 225,000 of the tokens, which is $15,000. So that's per wallet max. Obviously, I've engaged in pre-sales where I've gone in with multiple wallets. We know that's certainly possible, but this helps dilute that aspect just a little bit there. There is a hard cap of 20 million total token allocation for the entirety of the pre-sale. It is a fair launch for all. There's no white list. Anyone who wants to get in, who has some BNB ready to go, they can engage with that pre-sale. No real minimum per wallet except for like the lowest 0.001 BNB the contract needs to read, and then max of 15,000 USD or 225,000 of the PTX tokens. Once you engage with that pre-sale, you'll have your tokens secured, but then you'll claim them when we go live on the 15th. That's when they start rebasing. I do want to stress that they won't be rebasing until Monday the 15th.
And did you guys have a private and seed round at all?
No, that's one thing we pride ourselves. The entire project from scratch was funded by nil. So the founder and the CEO of the project funded the project himself, even down to marketing, events we've been having, giveaways, everything has been funded by nil. We're very, very reluctant to ever use seed rounds. We've seen and been involved in projects where they've had, people who you think could be trusted for a seed round, and then upon launch you get an initial pump, and then they run off with the money and they don't really care about the project anymore. So we really pride ourselves on not having any seed investors or any previous funding from external revenue. Everything was funded in-house and by nil.
Super cool. I love that. And gentlemen, I have some audience hands that are up. Before I get to those questions, I have a few more myself, but is there anything up until now that I haven't covered or touched upon that you want to share with us?
Honestly, I think we covered just about everything. We've done. I think this is our 8th AMA in the last 2 days, so we've gotten pretty used to going over all the information out.
It's actually the 9th AMA in the last 26 hours. So yeah,
Wow.
I think you've actually given us a perfect set of questions, because usually we do have to touch base on everything. One thing I will touch base on though is we are primarily a Discord community, but I know you guys, you have a massive community on Telegram. We do actually have a Telegram. I don't know if I'm able to post a link of it. The Telegram is announcements only. We do have a bunch of people in there, but if you don't like Discord, it is a very, very good way for you to stay up to date with Protocol X. Every single announcement, even down to the smallest ones, are announced there, so you'll forever be up to date. Give me one more. So yeah, you'll never have a problem of staying out of the loop or not being able to engage. If you do want to engage with the community, the development team are always in the Discord. Our development team are based in Canada, America, and England. We have obviously, our development team as well are based in England and America. So we have people working around the clock, 24/7. There is always activity. There is always people there to answer your questions. We've got a lovely set of moderators who will help you all the way as well. So if you did have any further questions after these AMAs, we're always there and always happy to help you guys out.
Very cool. And audience members, go ahead and join their Discord. It's posted in the main chat. Gentlemen, a couple more questions from my end. One, do you guys have any team token allocations?
Yes, so there's going to be 5 million total team token allocation there. From that aspect, there is that allocation, right? And I am aware that there are obviously risks from there. We are not taking, I don't want to go into our specific of our salaries. We're not taking high salaries at all, especially early on. Immediately upon launch, we've accidentally released it before, so I'm going to immediately push back. I believe it's 2.5 million of our 5 million allocation right to the Treasury and/or do a burn. So I'm going to at least try to get rid of half of them right away, and then build up these outside revenue sources as quickly as possible. And we're all taking low salaries in order to facilitate that, so that we, as our team members, can get on the salary generated by a separate fund into that trading bot, so that there's no more coming out of the protocol. I can get that done definitely within 3 months, ideally within 1 month, and we won't be having that constant team sell pressure indefinitely. We're all very cognizant of the risk that brings to people. So we either send it to the Treasury or burn those tokens, and then we'll fund our own salaries off of that trading bot revenue, because that's what we're running off of. We believe in that, and we want to be able to not siphon out some of the gains that the community is trying to make over time.
Yeah, of course. And I honestly think you guys deserve to be rewarded for all the hard work that you've done. I was just curious to know if what the allocation was. Cross-chain aspirations. You mentioned briefly earlier that you're thinking about it at some point. If you were to expand to other chains, which ones are you looking at?
Yeah, so just a quick fun fact. The X in protocol is actually standing for cross-chain. So that's the reasonality behind Protocol X. Now, cross-chain is very, very different in the sense that we want to use it. Of course, we want to bring our DEX cross-chain, and we want to bring, obviously, the DApp cross-chain. There's very different ways of doing it. We are reaching out to partners for a meaningful way to cross-chain to platforms like Phantom, One Harmony, Ethereum, and any other, blockchain or potential blockchain partners that we want to look into. We obviously have a plethora, sorry, then I'd say that word sometimes, of things that we have planned. Now, not everything we can release, because some of our business plans that we are looking to go the professional VC route, and the ways that we want to do it is by working with other potential blockchain partners and go, hey, we've got this product, we want to work a long-based relationship with you. And that's just one thing I want to touch base quickly on as well. One of our main business models is using and bringing crypto to the real world. So we all know crypto is very expensive. If you've ever been involved in a project, marketing, listings, anything to do with crypto is expensive. Now, what we want to do is integrate into the real world, attend the expos, attend the summits, attend investor meetings, attend anything to do with crypto to be able to market our product, sponsor events, and actually garner a relationship in the real world. We want to be known in the real world. Okay, very well, you can chuck a billboard up and say, hey, we want a billboard in Times Square. But realistically, if you spent that money more wisely, even if you spoke to one correct person at a summit, I guarantee that would be a better investment of funds for the project, longevity wise, than it would be throwing a billboard and hoping people, become aware of it. Obviously, we are looking into hype mythology. A lot of crypto is surrounded by hype. We know that you need to have the hype, and we are looking into ways to doing that. But the main way we want to grow the project is by using real world connections and growing in the real world. Sorry for going on a bit of a tangent there.
No, I love it. I love it. I'm all about helping draw in mainstream adoption and being a catalyst for that. Last question for me. How are some ways you guys plan on introducing gamification into your ecosystem? I did see that on the, I think, fourth phase or Q4 phase of your roadmap, and I'm curious to know more.
Yeah, so gamification is something that's going to be integrated in crypto, no matter what, whether we wanted to or not, whether how it is going to all be up for generally evolution and debate. But generally speaking, integrating the NFTs as part of the gamification kind of mechanism is something that definitely interests us as we navigate through that there. Obviously, we have to take this in phases, get a good successful launch, get some good growth, get that cross-chain stuff, then get on that next level there. We always have something to build towards. We've actually had multiple partnership conversations this week about some projects and people who are already have developed these platforms, and it would be a pretty good mechanism to integrate ours into. So we're trying to create some decent level partnerships. Our NFTs are going to be a door, so there's easy ways to implement that right into a game setting very, very easily. As it would, obviously it's a door, you just go through it, right? So there's so much opportunity there that we can build upon, and there's plenty of people in this space that have incredible gamification sort of mechanics that we can then integrate our own into. I would almost prefer to do that than for us to try to create our own system. I'd rather integrate our system into someone who really specializes in that field. Let us kind of thrive in our niche, and then use our expertise here, combine it with what they're good at, and create a good growth for everyone there.
Love it. So quite a few audience member hands up at 6 people. Let's start with Western Beast, and guys, make sure that you wait till your hand is, or till you're called on before unqueuing your mic.
All right. Thanks, Noah. So my first question is actually from your white paper, and I saw the fact that you're going to have the protocol. You're going to definitely keep that protocol growing. So you've already made mention of some of the moves you're going to definitely make. Among that, would you be able to? Are you reaching out to any celebrities so that the awareness of this particular project is going to be increased in a way?
I'll answer that question. So as of yet, no, we haven't reached out to celebrities, and that brings me back to my point. I know many methods to get people like Jake Paul involved in a project, to get celebrities that are big in the crypto space into a project. It's all a marketing tactic. Now, the effectiveness of the cost to reward ratio for hiring a celebrity in the DeFi space is astronomical. Now, just to give you a little bit of insight into that, to hire someone like Jake Paul to do a tweet for you, you're looking at $150,000+. Now, is that going to garner you enough attention to pay for that? Probably not. There is a lot of things in this space that you can do with that funding. Now, just to put it in perspective, if the pre-sale goes well, we're already planning to go to the Dubai Expo, have a stand, have networking meetings, and that would cost 1/3 of that for 12 of our team members to attend for 2 weeks. Now, in a situation where you've got a real life scenario where you're able to garner connections with hundreds of other projects, reach out to further partnerships. I think for the third of the cost, this is all goes back sort of similar to the market inside the hype side. Hey, Jake Paul or a celebrity would bring massive endorsement. It would bring massive traction. But what's the realistic side of that's going to happen? You're going to turn into a pump and dump. And that's not sustainable at all. What we want to do is grow our product long term, make our product sustainable, and actually have a product in a couple of months and couple of years' time where people can say, hey, that project actually worked out for us. That was a good investment. We don't want 1% of the project saying, hey, I made millions of dollars, and the rest of the 99% of people are waiting for the dip to recover. So as for celebrities, unless it was for a mutual beneficial partnership or an investment partnership, we probably wouldn't just blow money on celebrities to promote the token there. But thank you for your question.
I really appreciate the answer to the question. I'm wishing you guys the best, and I hope your project stays bullish moonward.
Thank you. Thank you for coming
Hello.
up.
Hello, sir.
Thank you, Western. Next up is going to be
Health.
go for it, Said.
Okay, thank you, Noah. Okay, so you mentioned about these NFTs and upgrades. So I was thinking that what maximum level of the Castle Door and Egyptian Door NFT owners will be able to achieve by upgrading their NFT, or it will be a single upgrade?
Yeah, so I'll go into a little bit of this here. So the price of the NFTs is to be determined. So I think we kind of talked about it a little bit before, but it's the buy and sales tax. A piece of that goes into a fund that pays to the NFT holders. Let's say we have, which we very well could have with a upcoming partnership, massive levels of volume, incredible levels of volume. And then in this pool, we're able to give, every NFT $200. That would be, we expect to be minted, right? So listing that NFT for $200 in 3 to 4 weeks wouldn't make any sense, right? So because then they would immediately have their ROI. Kind of would make sense for us because we'd sell them out immediately, right? It'd be like hotcakes. But that kind of data allows us to set a good price for them. Now the different tiers, all that's going to do is give you a different percentage from a pool perspective of that revenue share model to those NFTs. So if you have the base, there'll be an entire pool that'll get distributed to that on a percentage standpoint. And then there'll be a little bit better percentage for the tier 2 and a little bit better percentage for the tier 3. The way we're doing that is we're encouraging those to exchange their PTX token, those Rebase tokens, for the keys, kind of like we talked about before. And those will be utilized as a burn mechanism. So they're going to exchange PTX for these keys. That smart contract will automatically send those tokens to a burn wallet. And that'll give you at least the opportunity to look at upgrading your NFTs from that perspective there. So that's kind of how we're going to distribute all that. Very strategic, but it also is pretty engaging and kind of exciting to work with. It incentivizes a burn. It gives you more opportunity to make some more money. And it's also cool because you got these crazy cool NFTs that are legitimate NFTs in your wallet, and they're bringing you money in twice a month.
Got it. Thank you for explaining that. Okay, so users can also buy XKey NFTs as an entry to the lottery. So I was wondering that will there be any limit on maximum number of these key NFTs one can buy as an entry to the lottery?
Yeah, so there won't be a limit for now. So if you want to, I want to encourage people to help me with these burn mechanics. So if they want to enter the lottery and they're facilitating my burn mechanics, I have no defined limit right here and now. I'm more than happy to do that. It takes tokens out of circulation, and it gives them the opportunity to participate in a lottery system, which is always fun and exciting for the community. So yeah, I'm cool with that. I want to encourage people to be exchanging their PTX for these keys. It helps the protocol, and it allows them to engage in different elements of our ecosystem.
Okay, got it. Okay, final question. So I've read on your white paper that you also discussed about it, that Protocol X Treasury will be investing in various DeFi protocols with varying risk as well. So I want to know that will DeFi protocols be, how will DeFi protocols be selected for the investment? I mean, will the core team be making the decision, or will it be through DAO voting? How will that work?
No. So the reason why we wouldn't put that through DAO is because realistically, if you put that through DAO, people could just pick their favorite project. Now we want to invest in projects and tokens and teams that we know are reliable, things that will actually benefit the protocol, like Ego. Ego has a sustained track record of 32% a month and 20% a month, 40% a month. So we'd look at that and go, hey, that is a good investment. So it'll be down to the team. We'll obviously have team meetings. Maybe in the future we'll discuss with the community. However, the investment of the protocol will be down to the team. The only reason for that is one, security, two, to make sure that the funds are being allocated the best way possible to our ability. When you start introducing foreign bodies into that, you're not using your best judgment. Your best judgment may be clouded. Now, I'm not saying all the time that the investments will 100% be a success, but having the team being able to control and look and garner partnerships with other protocols, it just gives an extra layer of security that the investment will be invested properly to a correct risk factor and obviously without affecting the protocol, so to say.
Got it. Got it. Thank you for explaining that. Thank you so much. Over to you, Noah.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Sayed. Next up, we have Venice.
Okay, thank you so much, Noah. Actually, as I want to know that will there be different voting power for the NFT doors you have for X share, and apart from voting power and revenue generated from Protocol X, what more incentives will be given to the holders?
So I kind of missed the first part. Is there a different something for each tier? I'm sorry, I kind of just a little quiet.
Yeah, as you have a different NFT doors, like three of the NFT doors you have. So I was wondering, will there be different voting power for each NFT door you have for Exchange, or it will be same power for each and every NFT doors you have?
Yeah, so it'll be all coming from the same pool, but just in a different percentage base there. So if you have the higher tiers, you're going to get a little higher percentage than someone who has the lower tier, of course, right? So that's just how we want it there. We want people to want to upgrade, of course, but the upgrades are also limited, right? So it gives that sense of, limited NFTs there, but it's also more advantageous if you've done very well because you got in on PTX on the pre-sale and now you're up pretty good. And you're like, okay, cool. I can just, I've been rebasing for a month. Now I can exchange these for keys and try to upgrade my door there. So that'll give them just a little bit of incentive to engage, but also help our protocol overall. The aspect of the NFTs right now is going to be based on the buy and sales tax of the token, which will then be expanded over time. So I plan on incorporating the system with the NFTs very far into the future, not just between the variety of our ecosystem that is already defined, like the DEX, the trading bot, the other forms of revenue that are coming in, but to a very strategically designed and legitimate business model that we'll be introducing, preferably at a live event in the near future. But we need to get past this, need to get a good, successful launch, build it up from there. But the NFTs will be valuable beyond just the token buy and sales tax as we develop and move forward.
Okay, and one more thing I want to say that why don't you have any website and also any other thing where people can learn more about your project in an easy way? I also visited your Telegram channel and found nothing, and I found a white paper finally, but in a hard way. So
Our website
when
is
will be
live.
the
Our website is currently live. Protocol-x.io. That is our website. You'll be able to see all of our beautiful faces on there, the white paper, more information about the project, and obviously our pre-sale page, which goes live in just shy of 20 odd hours. I believe when we obviously spoke to the team initially, we were waiting for that to go live. However, that went live yesterday. So we're all ready. Everything is live. You can see all of the team on the website. We're fully doxed. And yeah, the website is constantly going through upgrades. We're working with the developers now to make sure that it's running smoothly and everything's running perfectly for the pre-sale.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering my question.
Thanks, Venice. Aisha is up next.
Thank you, Noah. Okay, I was thinking that you could have had all the utilities like farming, staking, swap and NFTs even without the Rebase token. So I want to ask that why did you decide to go with Rebase token along with all the utilities?
Yeah, so the Rebase token is something I've always had interest in. I've been a long-term investor in various Rebase protocols, and it's, in my opinion, it's a good system if done correctly. People like to engage with tokens. They like that rebasing aspect to it, and I feel like I can change the game just a little bit on how these Rebase protocols normally operate. So ideally, I don't want to be very linear. I don't want a one variable mechanism here, because if you have one wheel moving and something gets clogged up in that wheel, then it all falls apart. If we have a whole ecosystem feeding into each other and supporting each other as we grow and develop, this will bring additional sustainability variables to each and every aspect of our ecosystem. And primarily, our base is going to be this rebasing token, which, like I said, I love those personally. That's something that many of us here on my team have been very much involved in. So we want to create a good rebase protocol, one that functions as we believe that it should function, with sustainability, with security, with transparency in mind every step of the way, so that we can bring this new element to the system and then allow that to kind of support the rest of the ecosystem that we're developing and incorporating as well. So we're trying to be multi-purposeful, and it's fun, engaging, and exciting.
Got it. Thank you for explaining really well. Thank you.
Let's go. Love the energy. Next up, we got Crypto Vita. Hope that pronouncing that correctly.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. My question is that what is your advantage over other projects? It's a form of security point of view or a technology you're using, or are there other advantage? What makes you believe that project is worth choosing for you or for the customers?
Thank you for the question.
Right.
I think I understood that correctly. So, in regards to why we're different to other rebase projects, now rebase projects are a big thing. The reason why we launched on BSC is because that's the home of rebase projects, right? We have a lot of love and respect for rebase projects, but what we said was, hey, how can we do this by making? How can we make this a little bit better, sustainable, make this, work better? So when we introduce our SEM model, which automatically reduces the daily APR by 10% monthly, we said, hey, instead of having that crazy 900,000% APR, if you hold from the start to the finish, you're only getting 93,000%. Now, that still sounds like a lot. However, if you buy in month 3 or month 4, you're still going to get a good daily APR, but you're not going to have an APY, which is unsustainable. So the reason why it works to get in early and believe in the token is because from the start, if you hold for the whole 365 days, your tokens will grow 63,000%. If you bought in month 4, it would be half of that, even less than half of that. If you bought in month 5, it'll be half of that. Now, the reason why that is so substantial is because tokens go through phases, right? So once we get to month 4 or 5, where a regular rebase token will end up having emissions problems and start falling or start not being able to hold a price floor, and then it will come back down to earth and then find a new price floor, our token will try and maintain a stable price by using the SEM, by using a liquidity management system, by using a treasury management system in the future to create a sort of rising floor. Now, the reason why we're different as well is because there is not a single rebase token that has a revenue share model similar to us. There's not another rebase token that has a SEM reducing APR model, which is coded into the contract the same as us. There isn't anything similar from the foundations. Now, yes, we're just a rebase token in a nutshell, but the longevity of the project is completely different to other projects. Now, you can have a project that's a rebase token, and you can have another project that's a rebase token. It doesn't mean that they're enemies. It doesn't mean that they have to work against each other. It just simply means they chose a model and they ran with it. Now, one thing I strongly believe in is it doesn't matter what kind of token you are. There's room to grow for everyone in this space, and I actually believe DeFi would be a much larger place if tokens work together. So one thing we are looking to doing is, and as you can see by our partnerships, is actually work to grow with people we don't care if you're a smaller token, as long as you've got that value, as long as you've got that drive, the same ambition as us, we would love to work with you and grow and build in this space, because just because you may have more holders or may have a larger market cap doesn't mean you're the smartest token. And that's one thing I've learned in this space, is that we want to be able to work with other tokens, build with other tokens, and grow with other tokens. But thank you for the question.
A great answer. Gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the AMA. I want to thank you all for being with us today. I appreciate the enthusiasm, the thoroughness, and all the hard work that you guys have put into this project. For audience members that are just joining in, do you want to give us a quick recap of who you are, what Protocol X is, and why people should be excited about the future of your ecosystem?
Yep. So just as a recap, Protocol X is a Rebase project here on Binance Smart Chain that's developing a pretty large scale ecosystem involving NFTs, utilizing outside revenue sources, have some variety of sustainability variables that are not yet implemented in the space, not to mention our own DEX and our additional growth, official partners that are going to kind of blow some minds as we navigate through these next couple of days and weeks here. So we are very exciting. Our pre-sale begins on August 10th. So tomorrow at 1700 UTC. Please come check out our website. Come check out our Discord if you'd like to get all those specific questions answered that you guys might have. We're more than happy to do so. And I'm joined here. My name is Neil, founder, CEO, joined here by my team. We have a team of 6. Brian was answering questions with me. Jack Cruelty is in here as well, plus several others that are on our team, all looking forward to help you guys out and navigate a very successful pre-sale, launch, and future of Protocol X.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Protocol X. My name is Noah. Remember that everything that you hear on Whale Coin Talk is for educational purposes only. We never give financial advice, so always do your own research. Protocol X team, thank you for being with us. Audience members, stay tuned for the wheel spin. Acti, you're on the mic.
Thank you for having us.
Cheers.
All right, the wheel should be up here. Let me do 2 spins for 2 lucky audience members. We're doing 2 $50 giveaways here. And let me get the first winner. And I'll spin it one more time for the second lucky winner of the night. And as always, guys, we still have the chat locked, so if you heard something you liked, if you have more questions, if you want to get involved, make sure to engage with the communities. I always say the best way to get involved is just start with the official website, and it's right there in our main chat, and work your way through all the documentation. And if you do have any more questions, I'm sure somebody on Discord will be more than happy to answer. And thank you everybody for coming today, and thank you to the Protocol X team for being here with us. This really has been a great one. So thank everybody for joining. Cheers.